Investors, I highly recommend you take the media to court. I mean, the US is the most litigated country on the face of the earth, and US media have been saying now for, more than 12 months that the Volkswagen Group has enough pre-orders for years of EV sales. Well, Volkswagen says the media was just flat out lying. All of that was complete nonsense. Volkswagen's EV pre-orders are, for some cars, zero. In fact, for some EVs, Volkswagen has admitted it has zero demand, as in zero orders, zero demand. No one wants them. And they've fined 30% of their staff in one of their EV factories, in their biggest EV factory, and they've actually paused production. That would illustrate the point that this is a correct statement from Volkswagen, and that the media have just been making things up. Why are they making this stuff up? Why are they trying to convince you that Tesla can't sell a car, or Tesla is struggling to sell EVs, and the Volkswagen Group is not, when in fact the complete reverse is the case, or is what's been happening? I find this whole thing really bizarre. Anyhow, hello my friends, welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Sam Evans. What's going on here in Germany? Well, you know for starters, right, that Volkswagen Group's EV sales in China, which is its most important market, is far more important than its German car market because it's traditionally made 50% of its profits worldwide in China. We know that the group's sales in China have been abysmal. It's lost its best-selling car title in China to BYD. Its EV sales have been extremely poor this year compared to what we all thought they would be. They're even lower than what I thought they would be, and that's really saying something. Volkswagen's domestic sales of electric cars in Germany, though, are far behind the company's plans, insiders told Business Daily Handelsblatt. The Driven.io reports that executives at some Volkswagen plants said demand for particular battery electric vehicle models had fallen to zero, while car dealers pointed to a general reluctance of European consumers to buy electric cars, blaming subsidy cuts, high inflation, and comparatively high prices. Now, on the comparatively high prices note, recently Volkswagen in China reduced the price of the ID3 to $17,000, meaning the ID3 is just over twice the price in Germany as what it is in China. So that'd be right. I mean, I mentioned this a while ago. The Volkswagen ID3 for a long time has been priced at around €40,000, meaning it's only a few $1,000s cheaper than a Tesla Model Y. It doesn't make sense. People justify all over these forums everywhere. I'm seeing these comments. Oh, no, it's fair that Volkswagen would want this much money for an ID3. It doesn't matter that the Model Y is 2 sizes bigger. That's irrelevant. I'm like, what? It's totally relevant. What the hell? Why would you pay the same price for like a Toyota Corolla as what you would pay for a Toyota Prado or a Toyota Land Cruiser? You just wouldn't. It doesn't make sense. Well, consumers, unfortunately, agree with me. I was thinking, am I mad? Is there something wrong with my brain to be thinking it's unreasonable for Volkswagen to think people should pay the same price for a Tesla Model Y as they should for an ID3? And, well, consumers agree. They're not. Volkswagen needs to reduce the price for the ID3, but they can't because it costs a lot more to make them for Volkswagen than what they're actually selling them for today in Europe, even though the price is double what the prices are in China. With reference to price cuts by US rival Tesla, company insiders told the newspaper the development is fatal, saying there was a clear fall in orders for combustion models and for EV models. A Volkswagen spokesperson pointed to a general reluctance to buy electric cars. Now, the truth is, EV sales in Europe have increased significantly this year versus last year. So just because the Volkswagen Group aren't selling anywhere near as many EVs as they thought they would doesn't mean that customers aren't buying them, because they are. The German car giant is facing very strong competition in Europe, but that competition is only about to get worse, or maybe not worse, I mean better for consumers, but it's only about to get tougher because a bunch of Chinese manufacturers are really going after Europe. There's very, very small costs for Chinese car companies, such as MG, to start entering the European car market. Now, people in Europe seem to believe that MG is actually a British car brand, even though it's not, it's Chinese, because it used to be British. So they're more than willing to buy MG4s, plus MG4s have had great reviews, so people are very interested. That's just one example of the many cars that Volkswagen or the Volkswagen Group will have to compete with for sales over the next few years. So competition will get significantly stronger. And for example, Tesla vehicle sales have gone up significantly this year in Europe as well. So Tesla is probably taking a little bit of Volkswagen Group's market share. Keep in mind, this is a pretty big challenge for Volkswagen because they have $185 billion in debt. They say they're going to borrow $200 billion. They've already borrowed some of that over the next 5 years to fund their electric vehicle expansion plans. But how can they fund them? How can they say to the bank, hey, we need an extra $170 billion. Can we borrow that just to make EVs? And the bank says, well, show us the history of your sales of EVs. And Volkswagen goes, oh, no, don't look at that. We'll show you that later. Just give us the loan first, and then we'll show it to you later at some later date. Because you wouldn't really want to show a bank these sales numbers because they're not really going up very much. So, Volkswagen produced 97,000 EVs between January and May of this year, but they only sold 73,000 of them, compared to 100,000 Tesla Model Y sales in the same period. That's a pretty significant number because that's just one model. That's just the Tesla Model Y. It's one model significantly outsold every model for the Volkswagen Group. And obviously, for Tesla, their strongest market is China and the United States. They're the strongest. So Europe is really their third priority. And they still outsold the entire Volkswagen Group. Volkswagen is losing market share as well to low-cost Chinese manufacturers in China. The only place where they're actually increasing their sales is actually the United States. They probably need to ramp up production there, which they're planning on doing. In fact, they're trying to ramp up EV production in the US because they see that as a possible growth market that could offset some of their losses in China and in Europe. Everything, in my opinion, is looking very challenging for the Volkswagen Group, especially now they've revealed they've scrapped the Trinity car program, and now they're just going to buy an electric vehicle platform from the Chinese government and Alibaba. I mean, Alibaba and the Chinese government, SAIC, they got together. They came up with this car company, IM Motors, made basically an electric car platform for that. Now, Volkswagen Group and Audi said, can you show us an EV platform so we don't have to make one ourselves because we're struggling to make it? And the Chinese government and Alibaba said, yeah, sure, you can buy our platform. And that's what they're going to do. I don't know how that's going to play out, but it could help them reduce costs. I think that's why they made that decision. If you want to see my video about that, I'll put a link in the description below. Now, but guys, I'm really curious. What are your thoughts on this? Because for me, it seems very clear that the two biggest car makers in the world, Volkswagen Group and the Toyota Group, are both really, really struggling. Everyone said that they said it would be easy to make EVs. When the time came, this is what they said. When the time comes, when the market's ready for it, we'll do it. And the market's ready for it. They're not really doing it. Thanks for watching.